Hello Shedmates, and in this video we will be looking at scenery, specifically scenery from Kill Team. I bought 2 boxes of the boarding action style Kill Team, which is centered around Into the Dark and Shadow Vaults being another one. And you may have seen them being used as a backdrop in my Azrak the Annihilator video. So all I've done so far is just attempt a quick spray with double colours of a primer of black, and then over the top of that with like a dark grey. Think like a rust grey from Space, Space Wolf's rust grey from the Citadel range. So that's kind of what I've done so far, and I thought I could use this as a base to potentially keep a kind of stylized look to all the scenery. Because I've got 2 boxes, there's quite a lot of it as well. So I'm keeping a stylized look, but also getting a good grounding for getting this all done as quickly as possible. First thing you've got to do though is the cleanup job. Now the cleanup job is not to be sniffed at. These things don't go together that well, and my recommendation is to get yourself some kind of Dremel tool to allow you to file back the stid-up type things that go into and block into each of the separate items. That's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm using that Dremel tool to get right in there. But yeah, let's have a look at it. Now, Gallowdark, there's no doubt this stuff is absolutely amazing. But it has got a bit of a pain barrier to it. And what do I mean by that? Well, these struts here, okay, they've been well designed in a sense in that they're supposed to go into these parts of the wall here. But when you put them in, you'll notice that they don't actually go flush. Okay, so what you need to do is file them down. Okay, now, typical Blue Peter, here's one I've done earlier. You can see where I've been hacking away at this stuff to get it filed down to a point where it goes in to one of the wall sections nice and flush, but still is sturdy enough to hold its join when being gamed with. Yeah, so that's really what you've got to be doing. Now, there's a couple of ways you can go about that. You can either do it the painful way with some files. Take care not to ruin any of the detail around it, but you can see how, especially me doing 2 boxes of it, that is going to get old pretty quick and be quite time consuming. Yeah, so I had a few pennies in my Amazon account, so I invested in a small handheld Dremel tool, which makes it easier just to get that filing done in a bit of a quicker time. Now, it doesn't take too long with this getup. Just to take some of this edge off. Flip it over, do the other side. Okay, and that's probably enough on one double side to then come in afterwards. Now I was using quite a rough sandpaper on the Dremel tool. Now it's probably just enough for me now to just use a bit of a finer hand file just to take this roughness down a scratch. Let's just check that, see if that's enough now. That's probably about right. And it was as quick as that, really. It is a bit time consuming, it is a bit messy, but I think it'll be worth it in the end. Okay, the next bit I need to do is with each piece and then putting masking tape over the top of those struts, so when I spray it, we're not going to have a fine layer of paint that's going to undo the work that we've just done filing that down. So I'm going to finish these ones off and then we'll get on spraying the whole lot, and then I'll paint up the section that I've already got pre-prepared. So then, I have selected a piece, a wall section, a couple of wall sections, and And I think I'm going to paint this up now as a test for the whole thing, okay? Now, the Gallowdark stuff, it has loads of these great, it's been so well done, but it's got loads of these great screens that are kicking around. What I've done is I've gone to a company called the Mighty Brush, and I ordered some screen specific transfers. And these look the shizzle. They've sent me this through. This is not a paid endorsement, by the way, but they've sent me this through, and straight away I was impressed by the whole layout. So I've been sent this in a little envelope. Yeah, instructions for use, and then the actual decals themselves. Okay, I'll take that off, but you can see already the potential usage of these decals. These will look absolutely amazing on these screens, and there's plenty of them, so I've got a few to play with. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving these a whirl. I've seen them done really well as well, and they can look quite smart. So I'm also going to have a crack at doing object source lighting in this video, and by that what I mean is using areas like around the lights for specific area lighting around it. Now, I'm still toying how I'm going to achieve that. That could either be with the use of a cheap airbrush that I've got, and I'll get some air paints, or I'll just use dry brushing techniques to see how that then does it. So things like the lights, the screens, and things like that around the set would be jazzed up in that way. I've seen, you know, I'm taking a lot of inspiration as well from images on Google and stuff like that. But the plan is that I'm just going to dry brush down strokes for everything in the same way that it's been sprayed. So then I get quite a kind of like overall nice effect to the whole piece. So when it's all put together and built, it looks the part. That's what I'm going for anyway. It's a big project, obviously. But I'll paint this section for this video, and then in a later video I might do a short where I just document the whole piece together. This is kind of my Christmas project. That's Christmas. This is kind of my winter project, I should say, because I'll probably not get it done by Christmas. But yeah, let's get cracking. So where are we at? I've applied a wee little bit of Wraith Bone just over to give the skulls a bit of a hint of a lighter colour. I've also been round some of these kind of metallics and gone over with a bit of Sycorax bronze just to get, again, give it a bit of hint of colour. And now what I'm thinking I'm going to do is do my own mix of, you know, a watered down Agrax Earthshade to the whole piece, just to give it a bit of dirt and grime to it, a bit of zest, and then with it being a light one, it'll allow me to maybe go over some of the rivets with Agrax Earthshade neat and just kind of do some drags from some of these rivets around the place, and then I can start work on some of the screens and other bits. But I think on that point I don't think we'll have to do too much. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so let's do that. So how am I going to do the actual mix? So I've managed to save one of these little McDonald's dip pops, you know, the sort of things you get your curry sauce in. And I'm going to use that as a kind of base. I've got a bit of Manky water already in it. I thought I'd use the Manky water rather than getting fresh because it might add texture. So let's give that a whirl and see how that plays out. I won't need much, but I've got plenty of Agrax Earthshade. Let's just basically going to make my own wash. There we go. And what I'm going to do, just to be on the safe side, because this might get a wee bit messy, is remove my little precious hobby shed mouse mat from there. Bring this bad boy back in. I'm going to rest it on some paint pots here, let's just have a look. This will be my test area, this centre column. So let's just get that in. And then what I'll do, once I've done the whole area, I'll stand it up so it all runs into the recesses. And I didn't go all the way around with the Sycorax, as you can see in like some of the pipe work, because I want it to look like the shadow was actually still clinging to a lot of the areas. So let's just get rid on all of these bits here. Okay. I'm going to go around, just take some of it off before I go on to the next bit. And already I can see it dripping off the other side, so I'll work quickly. I'm just going to show you what I did with the Sycorax bronze, just so you've got the effect. It's a watered down, and I just took the top layer of the paint off the brush. You get the idea now. I come, let's get some where you can get this. And again, I'm just kind of doing down strokes, because that's the way I've done the whole piece. So just put a bit on metal effect. The idea is that the light gathers at the top bits, or where there's the most light catching. Almost like a dry brush, but there we go. You get the idea. Okay, I'll finish that off. So I've gotten up to this bit now, and this was the bit that I was a bit nervous about. And that is basically, I'm going to start doing a bit of OSL, object source lighting. It's not something I've really tried that much of in the past. But my plan is to start with a dark green, and using one of my new brushes, I'm just going to literally dry brush in like a circular area around here, up the sides, in this area. And I'm going to keep lightening it and lightening it and lightening it. And eventually what I'll get to is doing the screens in like an luminous green, which would be then ready for me to put the transfers on. Okay, so that's that bit. For this bit though, what I'm planning on doing is using it like a I was thinking, to me, I was on the dog walk today and I thought it actually looks like some kind of shield notification. So my thinking is I'll do one segment red, inner bits green, and maybe do this outer bit pink, as if to denote that the shields are under stress, with a backdrop of green. So that's my plan, and I'll work those layers in eventually to pop on the top in those sort of colours. So that's my current plan. So let's start off with these initial bits. The first colour I'm going to use is Warflesh, and that'll be our base to then start building upwards. Like I said, I've never really done this before, so if we've got August Peat Tongue, then at least I tried, yeah. Nothing but realism in this channel. I think that will be a good basis, but I really need to get a lot of that off before we get it onto, let's try on their backpack. Right, I think that's probably about it there. Let's go with that. So, a circular motion. Circular area. Gonna make a slight mix of these two colours into the next one. So the next colour is going to be Warboss Green, but I'll give it a slight mix in with this, and we'll work our way up to this top colour. Okay. And then final colour is, and this is the one I've got to be careful with, moot green, because this is punchy as anything. So we just want a little bit of this, maybe not too much, and maybe I'll even tone it down with the previous colours and mix it in. See how that goes from there. Yeah, taking a lot of it off, so I'm going to go in quite light with this, because already you can see on this test piece, see how that's going to pick up every little edge. So I just need to tone it right back. Getting most of this stuff off the brush. I'm literally covering my homemade palette here. Right. Okay, so I think we'll go with that. Okay, so do it on. Now I've kind of got my test piece done. What I will do is go back to our original colour. And just mix down our other side. Let's go back. Now we've learnt from it. So to the original colour, and we'll just there we go. I'm quite liking that actually. So these three colours next are going to be my screens. So Eshin Grey is going to be like a shade. I can't even say it. Administratum Grey is going to be the base, and then with a little bit of highlight of the Corax White. So let's start with the Administratum Grey. All my screens are going to be, we're going to do these all grey, and then build up with a highlight and a little bit of shade to it. Okay, so I'm just letting this dry a bit, and then it'll be time for La Pièce de Resistance with a bit of the old Tesseract glow. I'm just shaking it furiously while we wait for that to dry. And then what I might do, just as like a little bit, is just a bit of edge highlighting around the area with the old moot green, just to make it pop that little bit extra more. I think though already that is starting to look quite nice. Okay, so we are ready. Fingers crossed. Let's just do one, and then we've always got a way to come back if we need it. How's that looking? To be honest, I think I'm happy with that. So the last thing we're going to do on the bit of glow effect on here is a bit of moot green edge highlighting. So maybe a little bit here, and then definitely along here. And I'm breaking it up just to make it look like there's imperfections in the middle there. There we go. So that's that side. I'm going to flip it round because I find it easier because I'm right-handed. I can do this side quite easy, and same again, breaking it up a little bit, and then along here, this is where the brightest bit probably would be. Yeah. And then same again, the bottom of here. Just gives it that little bit more, doesn't it? Look at that, that's really popping. I like that. There we go. I think that has worked really well. I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with that. Just got to tidy this bit up. But yeah, really, really looking forward to getting the transfers on these. So, let's do a quick update. I did press the fast forward button really, just to try and get the project going a bit further. If anything, just because I saw like the time getting away from us. And what I've done is I've added some sections and areas of typhus corrosion. Places like here, some of the pipe works and stuff like that. Most noticeably down this bottom corner here, which I think lends itself quite well. And you'll also notice that the transfers are now in place. These look absolutely awesome. But I have to admit, I ruined a couple of them trying to get them in just because they're so tiny. So tiny. I'll give you an example. There's a las rifle for scale. Let's pop that in there. You get the idea of how tiny these transfers are. So I had a bit of difficulty and ended up ruining a couple. But yeah, they still look amazing. My plan is to add more of them. I've also missed these two lights, so these need doing. And then on this section, there's some extra bits that need doing here, down in the bottom. This extinguisher, I'm assuming it is, or some kind of canister. On the flip side, there's not really that much to be done on this side, I suppose. But I've just added some bits for flavour, which again, I'll put some, I might stick some other, you get the idea of where I've been going. Anyway, so that's where we're at. The next thing to do is the bright areas on the red, which I've also done. And you can see on the skulls, I've added a little bit of glow. So now I need to add a bit of pink and a bit of white. And I'm thinking maybe a little bit of white and contrast just to set this off. A bit of white and contrast red. And that should make these last few bits pop. So I'll just start first with how I've done the red. I did exactly the same. I started off with corn red and dry brushed that into the area surrounding the light there. So the next bit now is I need to make way for the contrast paint. So get into here, let's do it this way. Okay, so kind of in the uncharted territory now. I don't know how this is going to work out. So what I'm going to attempt to do is put contrast Blood Angels red over the tops of our white spots, which should come through a lighter colour than the actual red we've got, which is a similar way of what I was trying to achieve with putting the Tesseract glow over the top. So let's see how that works. I'll just do it in this bottom one and we'll have a look. I think maybe I'll water it down. Let's try that. I think that will work better. I think that has worked on the strip light there, just that little hint of red. Next on the agenda is a bit of sponge on the end of a bit of tweezers with some Rhinox hide. And I'm literally just going to dab it into some of the lower areas. I'm going to go too hard, but it's just a way of putting some extra texture down into these areas. And I'm just going to go along the whole piece. Let's just have a look at how that's looking. Yeah, and I think maybe less might be a bit more. But places that might have more use, like, you know, your door frame, go over those bits. I think at that point we might consider calling this section done. Yeah, We'll go with that. There we go then. If you've made it this far, and it was a long one, thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like the finished look of what I've put together. I'm pretty pleased with it, and it's just a matter of getting into the rest of it now. I did want to do the full whole double box worth and do a full sweep, but I think what I'll do is I'll do a shorter video later on down the line when I've got the whole box set done. I think I've got to the point where you know, it's just becoming a big task. Being the hobby butterfly that I am, I'm already looking at other things going, ooh. So what I'm going to do is I might do a little bit of a palette cleanser and then come back to this and then finish off the Gallowdark as a whole. I want this set so I can actually play Kill Team, and I've got a range of different teams on the go at the moment. So that's where that's at. I've put a link in the description for the Mighty Brush transfers, so if you fancy them, get yourself over there. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe. It really does help with the algorithms. I really enjoyed putting this one together, and I'm really pleased with the finished article. Yeah, I just need to replicate it on everything else now. But see you in the next one.